Hi, I'm Lenora.
I'm Kristen. Hello.
I'm Isabel. Hola.
Hi, my name is Lenora Faye. I'm a child-free lifestyle advocate, speaker, and moderator. I'm a co-founder for the 2022 Virtual Child-Free Convention, which is happening later in July. And I am a co-host or a host of Child-Free Morning Chat on Clubhouse, part of Child-Free Club.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm a former fiction writer. I've decided to retire that for a while and go into unknown areas and explore those. However, most recently, I am the author of the novel The Age of the Child, in which a Roe versus Wade overturn leads to unanticipated consequences that take a surprising twist from one generation to the next. Give it to all your pro-life friends.
They would love it.
Yes.
Oh, they love it.
Hi, I am Isabel. I am the founder of the Uprising Spark, and I'm a coach for child-free women like myself who maybe happen to be struggling with feelings of guilt, shame, anger, for example, and they need somebody to sort of help them work through those. So that's me. Call me up, I'm your girl. I'm also the host of the Honest Upper podcast, and we are the three founding non-mothers of Childfree Girls. Today's episode is going to be about the latest thing that Childfree Girls sort of launched as a collaboration between us. So those of you who have listened to us or watched us on YouTube know that we have this podcast / web series. We have an Instagram page. We have where we post a lot of the memes that we create. And more recently, we actually decided to launch something called Dear Childfree Girls. So, Kristen, what is Dear Childfree Girls?
You tricky person.
That was good. Again, you guys need to watch Kristen's face during these episodes.
Dear Child-Free Girls. Dear Child-Free Girls came about because we get a lot of emails from people asking us questions, frankly. And it finally occurred to us that as we get these emails, it might be more beneficial if we found a way to make them available to everybody in case other people also have the same questions or at least similar questions. I don't know. We just thought it's better to, I don't think anybody's questions or problems are all that different. You know, they're probably different to the unique individual, but usually problems are kind of broad and we can address those. And we just want to do that in a way that will reach more people. So, Dear Child-Free Girls.
I'm actually surprised we didn't start doing this earlier. It's one of those ideas that just seems so obvious, but it just never occurred to do that because we've been answering emails since 2019.
Yeah.
And, DMs as well. There's a lot of questions come through our social media. So yeah, it just, and we've answered them and now it's like,
and on Instagram. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On Instagram and Twitter. And I mean, I think that there is a need in our community to sort of have someone that you can actually like discuss things with, whether it's to sort of see the other person's perspective, because maybe you're only just seeing like one, which happens to all of us, not judging here. Or because you really are completely clueless about something, and that's okay too. So, Kristen and Lenora, what have you been clueless about in the past that you've reached out to somebody and asked them for advice?
Anything to do with relationships? Seriously, I'm like, and I say this as someone that's not actively seeking one or even has come to the realization, like, I don't want to spend that energy to do it, but I still love hearing people's experiences because I want to learn. I want to understand because I know, their experience is going to be different from what I go through, but I still want to know things. And so like, that's the area I think that I find I'm so curious about for many reasons, even just to kind of trying to be open-minded about that whole thing. I always apply thing to things I'm not comfortable with. Like I call children things, even though I'm comfortable with kids, just not having them.
I think the hardest, like the thing I find myself usually asking for advice about, and this is not related to anything that we're talking about, but is like how to, whether my email in a professional sense, like if I'm writing someone I don't know and it's a professional sort of correspondence, I need to know if I sound right or if I sound rude, or I get so stressed out about whether I sound rude or any familiar, whether any tone is wrong. Like I don't want to put anyone off by not sounding polite, but also not sounding ingratiating and kiss assy, you know? So I'll always be like, Ian, just read this, pretend you're getting this from someone. What do you think? Because he has many years of professional experience as like a military officer. So he's very well versed in that. So that's what I always need advice for, or at least input.
Well, yeah, input. I mean, and actually that's a good way of putting it for even what Dear Childfree Girls is. It's input. You know, because we are, as far to my knowledge, the three of us are not branding ourselves as experts. We're using our right, like we're using our own. I didn't know if you two secretly call yourself experts. I don't know. I've never heard that from either of you. But what happens behind closed doors? But I mean, what we do is from our personal experiences. So think of it as input, because if someone's listening or watching this and going, well, you know, I don't really need advice, but input is a nice way of putting it, because I think most of the letters and questions we've gotten in the last few years, it's stuff that I can relate to. You know, there will be a varying of experiences, but I go, oh yeah, like I know how you feel, because like there's something similar that's happened. So just input on how we handle it individually, and we will always have different answers too. I'm pretty sure, because we're quite different. So that's cool, because you have that rule that we're not allowed to ask each other what we're saying. We just send in our answers and then see them when in final form.
I think that's like what I like about Dear Childfree Girls is that we don't collaborate on our answers. We don't answer as Childfree Girls. We don't decide, okay, what's the best way to tackle this? We just each write our own responses separately, and then we have a Google Doc where we just put them in once we're finished. So when you do get our responses, it's from each of us as separate people. And the thing about the input thing too that Lenora was talking about is not, like you said, Lenora, not everyone needs advice or wants advice. Sometimes it could be almost a sort of, am I the asshole situation, or is this person being unfair, or am I being too sensitive, or something like that? And we might all disagree about that too, but at least you'll have, you know, it's like having a conversation with people you can trust to at least have some understanding of what perspective you're coming from. It's unlike, there's some advice column, I don't know if it's in Slate or somewhere, but there's an advice column people will write to, and they'll write to this person occasionally about not having kids, or being in a child-free situation, or being in a situation where somebody wants kids and somebody else doesn't. And I don't think the person offering advice, I do not know for sure, but I don't think they are child-free. And I think it's hard to write somebody, I think it's just a general advice column. And so it's like asking for, you know, a certain kind of manners or response in a child-free specific situation. And I think it takes a child-free specific person, especially people like us who aren't anti-parent, aren't anti-parenting. We aren't trying to start some kind of child-free cult. If someone really wants kids and writes to us and says, you know, do you think I should, even though I've been child-free up till now, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to say, no, you said you were child-free once, therefore you must be child-free forever. We're going to say, you know.
That's why we didn't do this earlier, because I would have said that. like episode 4.
I mean, we're just going to say something like, just be happy, you know, just trust yourself, you know, we're on your side. We're not on some kind of mission to make the world a certain way, except for kinder
and more accepting and of the child-free choice, or more aware. I should say, like, more aware of the child-free choice, because
absolutely,
you know, I mean, we're fortunate in the sense that we have I think we have a pretty good support system in the child-free spaces. You know, we've in collaborative sense, but also in personal, and also too, I mean, in worst case scenario, we have each other to bounce ideas off, which we do. And it's nice to have that, because it's never been like, oh my God, I need like a child-free support system. But now that I have it, I'm like, this is really nice, because it's not just child-free stuff. It's also like we talk about personal stuff and business stuff and, you know, whatever's going on. And it's nice to have someone that you know that is far enough or removed enough from your life, but cares for you, because we're not in each other's space, but we care. So we want, you know, we give our input when asked for it. And, you know, that's nice. So this Dear Child-Free Girls is a way for people to get a, you know, we care. We want you to succeed in life. We're not in your life per se. So, you know, there's enough distance and we can, you know, whatever the scenario is presented to us, we can look at it, give you 3 different points of view, and, you know, you do with it what you will.
Exactly. The cool thing is you get to, if you want to, we can like put your name there, or if you want to remain anonymous, we can also do that too. But it's great that we're able to put these letters that we get with the questions for input or advice, however you want to, you know, however feels better for you or works for you, put it in our blog so that other people can read it. They can read both the letter and our answers, of course, because, you know, like Kristen mentioned, I think we all have, if not this, well, not the same, but sort of similar questions or similar thoughts regarding our child-free life at some point in time. And there's 2 things that I feel that are very positive about this. First one is seeing that you're not alone, that other people are actually going through the same things that you are. It's okay to feel however way you're feeling, and it's totally valid. And the other thing is that you can also benefit from that. And maybe if something in one of those answers is not clear enough, or you want even like to go further down, you know, that explore something in whatever, you know, each of the answers of us, each of our answers, I'm sorry, is something that is represented there. You can also like send us a comment, DM, or send us an email, and, you know, because the whole idea is we've had, I mean, like Lenora said, we're not experts. We don't call ourselves experts, but we've had a lot of interaction with child-free people for a long time, and we're child-free ourselves. So I think it's the combination of our own personal experience and also like listening to stories of other people in our community that help us sort of be able to, you know, give the input that we give to all your questions, basically.
And you know that even our lifestyles, like I think the life experience does lend itself to being able to not be an expert necessarily, but to at least have these different positions. Like I've been married 3 times, or let's just say divorced twice, whatever. Lenora has an interesting religious background, and you are you're living in a society where there are very traditional, I think, expectations, Isabel. So we also have that going for us, I guess.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and also, even though we're called Child-Free Girls, we are of a certain age.
We are women of a certain age. Yeah.
Well, I said I said we are of a certain age. I didn't say we're women of a certain age, so we are of a certain age. I have nothing against the term women. It's just like I wasn't going with the whole shift from child-free girls to child-free women. I mean, that hat was not taken, which is why we didn't do it anymore. Yeah, seriously. But seriously too, you know, there is that, again, like what Kristen said, that life experience. And, you know, and also too, if someone's considering, if you're listening or watching and considering sending something and you feel like your experience is so off the wall, trust us, we have like, we've probably experienced something, or we have off the wall experiences. So there's send it, like, and also too, again, you know how they say like there's no such thing as a stupid question. Send it. We will respond. I mean, because you might be struggling with something and you might think, well, no one wants to, everyone's talked about this so much, I don't want to talk about this. I've heard people in the content creative space saying that, well, we've talked about this so much, we're not going to talk about it anymore. Look, there's going to be people at the beginning of their child-free journey who are either young or maybe our age, who just discovered that child-free is a thing. And they're like, wait, that's me. I've got so many questions. I need to start at the beginning. And they won't word it like that, but that's actually where they're at. So there's send the question, because, you know, again, we're not going to look at it and go, you should have figured this out by now. Like, because I know some of you are thinking that, because I would have thought that too. So just putting it out there.
This is
Yeah, it's judgment-free zone here.
Judgment-free zone, absolutely. I want to say, in my own personal experience, when I first realized that I wanted to embrace a child-free lifestyle, I was 34. So people might say, oh, you were too old, but whatever, I didn't have children, I could still be child-free. Anyway, I was 34 and I was like, oh my God, this is me. Now what? And of course, there's nothing out there. Like, there aren't any real resources for people who are just sort of learning how to navigate the child-free lifestyle, whatever age they are, or at whatever point they are, maybe in their journey, as in that of embracing their child-free life, because maybe they have been child-free for a long time, but they just realized that there's a term for it, for example, or they've been child-free and know the term, but there's something new that has sort of come into their life that they hadn't actually had to deal with before. There's so many different situations. So when I was out there looking for information, I started looking in social media, and oh boy, that's when I learned that, there's a lot of different spaces in our community. And I think that if you know us, because you have been listening to us, if you have been watching us, if you have been sort of seeing what we post, if you find yourself sort of resonating with who we are and what we do, then this is totally your space too.
Isabel, I don't think you answered your own question about what kinds of things that you typically seek advice for.
Oh,
She
everything.
She didn't. Good call.
Yeah, but honestly, everything. I'm not an insecure person. Totally the opposite, I would say. But I think that when I was younger, when I was maybe in my teens and early 20s, I was extremely arrogant. I was really cocky. I thought that I knew everything that there was to know about the world, that I had all the answers, like many people that age are. I hope I was not the only one. And then you start living life and you realize that no, you don't have all the answers, and it becomes really humbling. And now I feel that there's so much more that I have to learn than what I actually know. So I do ask people for input. Actually, advice, I think advice is different. But yeah, I think there isn't like a specific thing, I would say. And I'm still learning about the child-free community and the child-free lifestyle too. Like, it's just an ongoing thing. And, in whichever capacity or whichever way my learnings can be helpful to others, then definitely share those.
That's another good point too. Like, in addition to our own experiences, whatever, for as long as we've been doing this, we've also learned a lot, because we've learned a lot from people we've had on the, to interview, to talk to. So it's not even necessarily our own. It's not like anything we say exists solely in our head, absent of any other influence.
Right.
A lot of it comes from what we've learned just since having done this and having had people on who have had their own different perspectives and experiences.
Yeah, because sometimes you just need to ask somebody. And that's the thing. It's like what Isabel said, in your experience, you're just trying to find something that was out there, because I had a similar experience when I realized child-free was a word. And then I'm like, oh, there's got to be other people. But then it's just kind of like a random Google, like, help, who do I talk to? And you've seen our show probably, we talk to pretty much everybody, even though maybe sometimes we shouldn't, but, so we will. And hey, it just occurred to me, there might be people who are not child-free, but have a child-free person in their life. And there might be an issue that they need advice on like, hey, I have this child-free friend. How do I say that it's not going to offend her? You never know. So just throwing that out there, we'll take those letters too. Because that's also a good question.
That's an excellent point. This isn't only for child-free people. Like, we will take letters from anybody who has any questions about, well, frankly, anything.
Yeah. You're right. Wait, Kate, remember that text I sent before we started, and then Kristen's like, bad image. I'm afraid if we ask for pictures,
oh god, that's true.
Yeah, so that's what I'm like, we don't need photos. We can just send the letter.
Yeah, no pictures. We will not open attachments. That's a thing. That's something we should say is, put your question, please. I don't think anybody actually writes anything in a Word doc and sends it as an attachment anymore anyway, but do put whatever your question is in the body of your email, please. We're not going to click any links. We're not going to open any attachments. Oh, and just make sure you put in the subject, Dear Childfree Girls, because that will, if you put Dear Childfree Girls in the subject, then we know that you understand that this is going to be a public letter, that we're not just going to write you back. It's going to go on our website blog.
Yeah.
And we will, of course, use it in social media or pieces of it, the most salacious parts.
Those are the emails we really want. But seriously though, too, I mean, if you're thinking going, well, why should I do this? Why can't I just write you privately and you just answer me privately? I mean, if it's really horrifying and you don't want it public, we will still take the letter, and we will, I think that's fair to say, like if it's something super intense. But the thing is like what Kristen said earlier, is that what you're going through, there's going to be someone who's gone through something similar. And so this is a way for you to actually contribute to the Childfree community, to help other people by sharing your story, and something as seemingly simple as a letter is actually a lot more powerful than you realize, because, whether we put it on our social media or it's on the blog or a newsletter, or however people come across it, it's going to resonate with someone. Like that's pretty much a guarantee. It's going to resonate with someone, and you will probably never know who it resonates with. We won't really know who it resonates with, to be honest, unless they come out and say something. So you are actually going to be helping other people by sharing your experience, whether your name's attached or you keep it anonymous, whatever. So think about it that way. Like, it is important to share, even for that, just knowing that your experience will reach someone else.
So now you can send us your emails to childfreegirls@gmail.com. Please put in the subject, Dear Childfree Girls, or when you're writing in the body of the email, Dear Childfree Girls, so that we know that this is actually part of this new project that we have in hand, and it's going to go in our newsletter and it's going to go in our blog. And if you have any more questions, you can always send us an email or a DM on Instagram, or just put a comment down here if there's something else that you would like to know about how this works. And like we said several times already, if you don't want your name published, it can go anonymously. No worries about that. But we would be very, very happy to be able to help you, at least, sort of, even if it's just like an input, not really advice, or if it's advice or just clarify on something, we would love to be able to help you. So get those emails coming. And in the meantime, you can visit our website, childfreegirls.com. And like I said, our email is childfreegirls@gmail.com.
You can also find us all over social media. We are at Childfree Girls on Instagram. I was going to say Pinterest, but no. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We are on Amazon. Our book, Childfree Girls Comfort Food for Thought, is available in paperback and on Kindle. We also have a merch shop. You can find that on our website. And that's it. Reddit, occasionally.
Twitter. Did you say Twitter?
I did say Twitter, but in case I didn't, Twitter.
Oh, yeah. And Childfree Club on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Right.
Just search Childfree Club. You'll find us. You'll see Lenora Isabel. You won't find Childfree Girls, like the name Childfree Girls. It's an audio social app. I host rooms 5.5 days a week because we alternate Saturdays now. So, Childfree Morning Chat is on that app.
Our question for today for you is, what is your question for us?
Didn't we use that once before?
Send it. No, not about us. Not what's your question about us.
Oh, that's what that was. Okay.
I mean, if you're dying to know things about us, I'm sure you could ask, but really what I mean is, what is your question for Childfree Girls? And what can our response to you be about you, for you?
What? You lost.
We've lost Lenora.
Don't forget to tune in a couple of weeks for our newest episode.
Bye.
Bye.